similar theme, right? And it's one where I think it was an interesting one when they all brought it up of um, are they in control of their mind, or is their mind in control of them? And I always find that to be a very interesting topic, just for the fact that it could go either way, either way, right? And it's for me thinking about it was them. Um, it was like how often are we on autopilot, where we just do the same thing day in and day out, right? We fall into our routine, into the things we are just comfortable with, right? Going, I'm not really happy, but I'm not miserable either, right? And we just settle in to that. And it got me thinking with them, at least, that a lot of them, yeah, they haven't taken control of their mind, right? They have let their mind control them for so long, right? And we started to work through that of really what would taking control of their mind look like, you know? And honestly, that wasn't, and it still isn't an easy answer to really think about, right? It's one where I say for me anyway, like taking control of my mind is being able just to challenge thoughts as they come up, you know, recognizing whether it's a perceived, you know, outcome or if it's a realistic outcome. Yeah. And the hard part with that is when we're stuck in a struggle, how often does the perceived outcome look real?
Wait, can you explain what that means? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like let's say someone who struggles to pay rent every month, right? The perceived outcome that they have to struggle to pay rent seems very real.
Okay.
But there are so many people in this world who struggle to pay rent and they do something different and then they no longer struggle,
Mm,
you know? And so sometimes we let our perceived problems or situations dictate what we see to be real.
mm,
And we delete all those other things as if those are something that may work for you or for me, but not them.
mm.
And the one thing I say from my own personal life is the fact that I learned if it works for one person, it can almost always work for someone else. It may be little tweaks and adaptations, but it can definitely work for everyone else if they really give it the attention and consistency that it needs and deserves.
Mm. Yeah, I like that. I've experienced that too, feeling like, um, well, that might work for everyone else, but it won't work for me. But then just everything wasn't working. And so I just thought, well, people keep saying this one thing worked for them over and over. I'm just going to try, even though it seems like that's just luck and that's just not my luck. And then by doing those things, kind of like you're mentioning, piece by piece, you start to notice, which then kind of goes to your question, or this theme, which is like, does my mind control me or do I control my mind? Finding, especially through many practices, including hypnosis, that you can find that there are actionable steps that you can take. And some of them are external and some of them are internal, to then change what you think it is that your mind or that the universe is just doing and you have no control over.
Yeah. And it is one, like I say, in my business, like it was a weird concept to go. You would see online, right, where there's someone would be like, oh, you got to do Facebook ads. And then there's someone else going, never spend a dime on ads to get customers. It's like, well, which one's right? Well, they're both right, right? they both do work, right? And so when we see things in this world like, oh, start the side hustle or learn a new skill or, you know, see what you have already that you get to offer to other people for services, they all work. The problem I found for myself was that I would dabble. I would go over to the left side for a little bit. Then I would be like, oh, let me go to the right side because that looks nice too. And then I would go straight and go, oh, that option looks cool too. And I was never steadfast in one option. And I always stopped before the option actually had the ability to work.
Mm.
And a big part of me was being decisive to go, I'm going to pick one and stick with it. And that was the hardest thing for me, right? Because we all want those instant results, right? We all want to be able to go, oh man, I get to pay my rent off of, 4 hours worth of work. Because we see so many people, right, who go, oh, I send one email and I make $32,000, right? We go, wow, why can't I have that? What we don't see is the years that they put in for that, right? We don't see the long hours that they put in. We just see the outcome and go, well, why don't I have that now? And they didn't either at some point. And so when I look at that in my business now and how I live my life now, I'm very much I make a decision quickly, but I change it very slowly. And that has changed a lot for me because that's what allowed me to take control of my mind. When I make that decision going, I'm going to do, let's say, organic marketing, right, to get new clients. And that Facebook ad pops up, right, because it's always listening. And it goes, do this instead. Because now I'm so steadfast in my decision, I'm now in control to go, nope, delete, right? I'm going to stay here. Where in the past, where I say when my mind was in control, it was like, yeah, let's look into that. Oh, that sounds nice, right? Oh, that sounds easy. And I would waver, right? If I think about it with the food I eat, right, it would be the thought of, you know what we need to do? We need to stop off at McDonald's because we don't have time to make dinner at home. Such an easy thing, an easy thought. But then for me to go, well, no, if I just make chicken, I can fry it up, make some broccoli with it, maybe make some, minute rice. Well, that's 15 minutes of my time. And I'm going to spend 15 minutes in line at McDonald's. So do I really not have enough time? Or are you just trying to control me to be where we always have been? And challenging it was crucial.
And so why would the mind want to keep you where you have been? What's the reasoning behind that?
The mind, in my experience, loves being comfortable. It only time it really, I say, wants to change on its own is to avoid a deeper pain. Now, it's interesting that conscious pain and an unconscious pain are two different things, right? Consciously, we might go, and I'll just use food as a good example. Consciously, we go, man, I feel disgusting eating McDonald's, their greasy burgers and their large fries and their soda. And it makes me feel gross. But the unconscious mind will go, yeah, but that's less painful than being rejected.
Hmm.
And if we eat this food, we don't have to put ourselves in a position where we have to feel rejected.
How's that?
So it's one where I say with not a lot, but a good amount of clients I've helped with weight loss in the past, they go, I don't feel good enough about myself, right? So like, let's say they're single and they want to go into the dating world and they go, wow, here I am showing you everything I have. And the person goes, I don't like you. That's painful, right? That is at the basic human, mindset of we don't want to be rejected. We want everyone to accept us. And so it goes, if we hold on to whether it be this extra 15, 30 pounds, it'll go. If they say no, they're not saying no to me. They're saying no to the extra 30 pounds. That's less painful.
Hmm.
You know?
Interesting. Right.
Yeah. And so our unconscious pain and our conscious pain are almost always different, right? We may go consciously, I don't like this, but the unconscious mind is going, yeah, but, right? We need this. This is keeping us safe. This is keeping us comfortable.
Hmm.
So why would I get rid of it? If we think of smokers, right? Never have I ever seen a smoker go, Pete, I started smoking because, man, I really want to get lung cancer. Yeah, that sounds nice, right? They don't go, Pete, like, I really saw myself at the end of my days just in a rocking chair, chained to an oxygen tank, right? No one has ever said those words to me, right? They go, Pete, I started smoking because I wanted to fit in with the cool kids, right? I started smoking because my parents smoked and I always looked up to them, and I just associate being an adult with smoking. So by that standard of, if I smoke because I want to fit in, the moment I stop smoking means I no longer fit in.
And or I have to find another way to fit in. And what if that doesn't work?
What if that doesn't work?
Then what do I go to if I don't have my cigarette?
And that's scary,
Yeah,
especially for the unconscious mind,
right.
that it will put us through a pain that it perceives to be less painful than the other side.
Right.
And that's when it gets to be in control.
Hmm. And also, I mean, when you say unconscious mind, I partly feel like the unconscious, the subconscious, it's really it's like it's the child's perception that has stayed in that. It's like the child learned in that moment, and then we've just continued with that childlike understanding through. It hasn't developed until we give opportunity and exercise to develop. So much of what we're doing and thinking every day is a 3-year-old's perspective, emotional perspective, 4-year-old embryo, right? And so that's so interesting that it's like it's this underlayer, which is the unconscious and the subconscious. And even though there's great wisdom there, very deep innate wisdom, it's still operating from like the costume, the scar, the wound, the experience of like the life. And so it's like we have to somehow release that childhood experience so that the wisdom can be like I feel like it's this, it's like it's that like that line of just clean it off, or like clean off that childhood perception and mentality, in the ways of healing and letting go and releasing, so that then the wisdom can come back in. And so now it'll probably, once it's cleaned, it'll now have that residue of whatever age you are that you made that change. That's kind of what was coming to me when you're saying that.
Yeah, I think it's Bruce Lipton who always talks about, show me a 7-year-old and I can predict how his life will turn out, something like that.
That would be
Because he goes,
interesting to see, like his video, like if he could document that.
yeah, because it's one where I know he talks about how by the time we're 7, we have most of the ways of coping and dealing and seeing the world locked in. All right. Any trauma, he goes usually 7 and under. Any good moments, right? How to feel happy and excited, fall into that range. Any work ethic we have falls into that range.
Mm.
Now, it doesn't mean we can't change, right? It doesn't mean we can't learn a better way. But this is where we think of, does the mind control us or do we control the mind? The people who the mind controls them, that's how they will operate, right?
Mm.
The ones who take control of their mind realize, they go, wow, like, yeah, I'm holding on to this event from when I was younger into my 30s. That's crazy, right? I shouldn't do that anymore. right? And they get to go back, and it's one where we know more now than we could have ever known at 6, 7, 5, right? We understand people better than we could ever done then. And we get to kind of fill in the gaps that our younger mind had, right? Where it was like, wow, I must have done something wrong. That's why this happened. As a wiser person, we get to really look back at that moment and go, well, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Like this was going on and this was going on, and this happened, and right. So we get to update it, and for the mind, it kind of goes, oh, my bad. Let's move on from that.
Yeah, and it is just that easy too, which has been amazing. Not that it's always easy, and the process can be very challenging, but what I've found is something that is very challenging. You can't quite get there, you can't quite get there. The moment that it shifts, that part is so easy. Not the getting there, but once it happens, it just goes like this. That's it. That's it. Your mindset is changed. It's different. You can't go back. You just don't. Of course, I'm sure there's examples where you might, but overall, it's just that switch just does that. Again, it's just the journey to get there.
Yeah.
And I think also, it's interesting. It's like, I wanted to say something along the lines of, it's an interesting perspective to think about. Like, it's your 7-year-old controlling you. It's your 3-year-old. Oh, what I was going to say is more so than is your mind controlling you or are you controlling your mind? It's like, is your inner child controlling you? Or have you loved your inner child enough that you can, take the reins and they can feel loved enough to just like integrate? Because that's what it just feels like over and over again in a very just kind of like, not just trying to be logical, not just in the spiritual realm, which I feel is obviously very important, but just in a logical realm. Where did we come from? We came from our past. What was in our past? Well, every single day leading us more and more towards our childhood. How did we learn how to exist? From where we came from. And where did we learn what we learned from? From where we came from, which was our childhood in our developing years. So it's like we're saying it's your mind, but really it's your experience from your childhood that's dictating what your mind is.
Very much.
Until you do this other kind of work.
Yeah. It's one where, let me see if I can look it up real quick. I can never remember the author's name. I wish I could. So Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, there we go. His book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh yeah, I've heard about it. Haven't read it
yet. And this is where I love. So when we think of the mind, I'd say about 90% of the world thinks about our brain as if the brain is the mind. And he really talks about in the book how the brain is a transfer station. How it's kind of like the 1950s when people call and you see the switchboard operators moving all the wires around. He goes, that's our brain. It helps us reorganize and filter the information for what it feels like it needs to give. He goes, our mind is in every single cell in our body. And once we can understand that concept, that the brain is not the mind is everywhere in our body, and it keeps the score, right? It keeps track of everything we have ever experienced, the good, the bad, every memory, every emotion, everything. That so I think he worked for, it was somewhere in Boston, where he would work with people with chronic pain. And he found a lot of it was because they kept stored emotion. And once they released the emotion that it stored there, the healthier they became, the more that pain just seemed to disappear,
Yeah.
you know. And from that, a lot of stuff came where it goes, you know, when you feel sad, we typically feel it in our heart, right? When we feel stressed and overwhelmed, we typically feel it in our shoulders. And so when we begin to connect the mind body together, going, hey, if we can deal with whatever stress this is, people naturally begin to feel lighter. Pain goes away and they go, wow, like, I haven't been able to do this in a while. You know,
Yeah.
that it becomes a crucial part of it. But
Hmm.
that's again, you taking control of, hey, you know, to the transfer station, we no longer need to send this signal, right? We're now going to do this instead.
Yeah.
And it will almost always listen if one, I found if we're firm with it, right? And we go, there's no going back,
Hmm.
right? We're making this decision and we're not changing directions. It will stick with it.
So, for our last few minutes before we end for today, are there a couple tips that you could give some people who are interested in um, having a better relationship with their mind and their experience, you know, especially if they feel like it's controlling them in ways that they don't like or ways that they want to have a better relationship to mind and their experience?
Yeah, I think when you talked about early about talking to your inner child can be really helpful, right? It's one where a lot of my clients, I call it safe place, right? Where every memory, the good and the bad, had a time where we were calm, safe, and secure before an event. And there's always a place after where we get to feel calm, safe, and secure again. Doesn't matter what's in between is a good memory or a bad memory, neutral memory. We always have those spaces. And one of the best things we can do is bring our knowledge of when that time of safety was after back to our inner child, right? For me, I imagine it just myself at 2 years old, right? Now, some people, the more like analytical people, will be like, I don't know what I look like at 2 years old. That part becomes, I say, irrelevant. It's however you imagine yourself at that time, right? Go to them and just talk with them. Be like, hey, look, you know, this event is going to happen and it's going to be painful, right? You're not going to ignore the pain, but you get to go, hey, look, you're safe right now. And I guarantee you're going to be safe after because I'm going to be, you know, let's say I'm going to be on the other side when we're back at home getting ready for bed. I'm going to be here to show you how brave you were. And you would go through that moment again, and there you are on the other side, giving high fives, going, wow, like you're so brave and tough and courageous. You will see that inner child start to smile, right? Every time you do it, that smile will just get bigger and bigger and bigger because it's letting go of that pain, of that fear, of that was there. If it's a good memory and they're already smiling, it's just going to get bigger every time you get through it, right? It's going to be like, oh my goodness, this was the most amazing time of my life. And it just gets stronger when you're there, still giving a high five, going, that was amazing, right? You become this amped up, like version of yourself to go, man, we're so strong that it'll carry that like a domino effect through every other memory, experience, emotion in your life at an unconscious, deep level that you don't really understand conscious. And you don't need to understand it conscious, but things will begin to change. But you do have to have that relationship with your inner you first.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about next session. I think I already made a note about it. So let's make a note to talk about the inner child work and also the inner you, and, you know, various ways to talk about the same thing, because certain people don't believe in, you know, the verbiage, they don't believe in certain things. But I feel like there's one thing you can believe in, which is that you came from where you came from, and you started as an embryo and worked your way up through childhood to adulthood, and those were the experiences that created how you think, see, and feel in the world. And however you want to identify it, you can't deny that. And so there's many ways to name it, but there is one, one way that we've all grown from embryo to now. And so those, those things between are would be really cool to talk about,
Yeah.
We're like the firm believers of the skeptics and the non-believers. There is a place for you to find a way to listen in, could be through your like logical mind. I mean, there's just many ways to get there, but it's an important place to get to, especially if you're in pain or suffering in some way, or some of the things that you are going through is not serving you. That's not just life. You have actually some control over it, or at least you're able to participate. Like you're not just a victim completely to the thoughts. Although some are harder to break through than others.
And that is true, right? And this is where I found for myself that ability to make a decision to go, no matter what, I'm going to stay on this path. Because those harder thoughts need that, right? Because once you kind of put your feet in two separate paths, it will get very confused. And it will hold on to that hard thought versus letting it go. Yeah. But when you make that decision to go, both feet are on the same path, it'll be willing to go through the hard thoughts because it'll start to see what's on the other side.
Right. And just knowing that it's actually quite tangible. I think that's what's very hard is when, like if you have a splinter, you can get a tool, find someone, find a way to get it out and it'll still hurt. It'll need to heal. But when it's something here, it's very hard to get to and sometimes seems impossible, but actually there are ways, excuse me, there are ways to get there and, start to pull out the splinters or, investigate or, not everyone, some people scoff at hugging the inner child and other people, I mean, folks that I have worked with, when they hug their inner child, they bawl their eyeballs out. And then once they've met their inner child, they're with them forever. They're like, now she's with me forever. I never knew her. I never knew him. And now they're right here. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, great. Well, go ahead.
I guess lastly, it's one to like the way you describe that is so spot on because one is different for everyone, right? And it's not something you can really explain until you feel it. Like that's what I found out.
Yeah. Like so many things.
Yeah.
So many things. Yeah. The constant theme. Well, I mean, I just want to go on and on with you like always. But paycheck work calls. And so hopefully when other people listen, anyone who has a question, Pete is an incredible resource and I am doing myself learning what I can, but you can ask both of us questions and we will talk on them. And if you have individual personal questions and want to work with me or Pete, you can get in touch. And I've done some work with Pete. It's been amazing, along with him being a really great mentor. So I'm going to try to sign off from Facebook for now. And so just one moment.